Oh, I got it. A little nibble and hook. Yeah, okay, let me reel that in. Now, this is normally the part of the video that we call the hook, the part that's meant to let you know that you're at the right place and hook you into the content right before showing you the intro to our show, letting you know that you're, well, again, in the right place. But here's the thing, there's one big problem. Our show doesn't have an intro. So in this episode, we're gonna solve that. So you might be wondering why an intro matters and whether or not you need one. And to me, the answer is you absolutely do. Now, you can get away without one, but all the biggest, most iconic video podcasts and also TV shows tend to have them. And well, let's be real, they're incredibly iconic. They let you know what you're watching, and they're actually part of the experience. Actually, forget what I think. Let me roll a couple and see if you recognize them.
And gentlemen.
I might have dated myself a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you probably recognize at least one or two of those show intros. And here's the truth. Every show, whether it be on TV or on a podcast, has an intro, and some things make them great. It allows them to provide a little bit of context, to get you in the mood, to realize that you're about to dive into the episode, and it just creates a little bit of hype. So how can you make a really great show intro? Well, we'll do that, and then we'll also break down and literally record our show intro for the rest of this video podcast show, the Director Studio Show. Let's dive in. Now, the first thing that makes a really great show intro is, weirdly enough, brand guidelines. Now, as unsexy as that might look and feel, the truth is your brand has an image, the logo, the font, the spacing, the sound effects. There's so many different details that make your show iconic, and people recognize these things on a far deeper level than you would imagine. I mean, when you think about Friends and the logo of Friends, do you see the font? Do you see the colors? Do you see some of the elements that go into it? Do you hear the sounds? Do you understand what it looks and feels like and what it's communicating to you subtly? Well, I do. And brand guidelines are an important and impactful way of how you make that happen. Now, let's see what that would look like for Cinamaker. For example, this is the right brand look for Cinamaker, and this is kind of how it feels. And this is the wrong look for Cinamaker, and this is how it doesn't. Now, if you're going to make content, not only in the show, but in social media content, using the proper brand guidelines, both in your show, but also in your show intro, is gonna be incredibly impactful, because somebody might just see a little clip, a little piece of your show, and recognize where it comes from and who and what that looks like. Now, my second piece of advice for a great show intro is keep it short. I mean, I could say a lot about this, but just keep it short because, well, attention spans are low and you want to move on. You want people to get to the episode. That's why they're there. Number 3 is you'd rather be clear than clever. Now, I believe when you're creating a new show and you have a new personality, somebody who's not necessarily as known, kind of like me and kind of like this show, you want the intro to actually provide a little bit of context. Now, it might sound and look really cool to have lots of different effects and lots of different things, but if the show intro doesn't give a little bit of context about what your show is about, what they're going to see and experience in the show, then maybe it's not quite as good of an intro as a clear one would be. So clear over clever. Now, ingredient number 4 to a really great show intro is audio. And I'm not just talking about music, but also sound effects. When I think of Gary Vee and some of the iconic sound effects that he has, like this one, or maybe some of these other ones, yeah, these shows stand out. These effects and the audio of the entire intro has a massive impact on people remembering and putting themselves into the context of your show. It's almost part of the settling in while I get cozy on the couch or on my seat while I'm going to watch your show. So don't overlook the importance of audio. And last but not least is your intro memorable? Does it allow me to actually remember and associate certain things with the show? Am I intrigued by the show? Am I brought into the show? And can I remember it just by hearing a song or just by hearing a sound effect? The more memorable the intro, the more memorable the show, and the more likely people are going to remember to come back and watch. So now that we know the core ingredients, why don't we make our own? So I brought on Kyler, who's the producer of this very podcast and show, to come and help me, and we're just gonna have a little bit of a chat around it. So, Kyler, here you are.
What's up? What's up?
Okay, so Kyler and I have worked on some intros before, and one of my favorites is from a show called Mad Money on CNBC. It's a show about investing. It's a show about trading and Wall Street and a bunch of different stuff. It's news, it's comical, it's interesting, it's got lots of facts and information, but I truly believe that the intro is iconic and really well informative. It lets people know why they're here and why they're watching that show. So before we start and before we dive into some of the scripting and before Kyler and I have a conversation, why don't we play the Mad Money intro?
My mission is simple: to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Kramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Kramerica. I'll be able to make friends. I'm just trying to make a little money. My job's not just to entertain, but to educate and teach you. So call me at 1-800-743-CNBC or tweet me at Jim Kramer.
Okay, so let's break that down. I truly believe that what he says in the intro, as well as the music and the pacing of it, is, well, again, really well done. You might not like it, but I thought it was pretty clear and pretty informative as to why I, the viewer, would be there. Because at the end of the day, if I subscribe to some of the words that are written in that intro, it works for me. So let's look at that. Now, the opening line to me wins right off the bat. He says, "My mission is simple: to make you money." Now, the way he says it, the tone, and the use of the word you tells me I'm in the right place. Because he's speaking to me, the audience, not to a room of people, even if I'm watching with a bunch of people, even if I'm on a crowded bus or in a crowded space. I myself am the viewer. I myself have tuned into the show for a very simple reason. Because if I'm watching a show on CNBC about investing, chances are I probably want my investment account to go up, right? I'm there to make money. And so when he tells me my mission is simple: to make you money, I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I'm promised to help you find it. I promise to help you. That is proper. That is a good use of the context creation that an intro can create. Now, he goes on to say, "Hey, I'm Kramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Kramerica." Phenomenal branding the entire way through. He is telling me what I'm watching, why I'm watching it, and he's giving me a way to kind of reference him. And he goes on to say, "Some people want to make friends. I just want to make you money because my job is not just to entertain you, but to educate and teach you." And then say, "So call me or tweet me at Jim Kramer." So he reminds you he's the host. He reminds you why you're there. He reminds you that this is meant to be entertaining, but also informative. And that is super powerful. So yeah, I mean, great intro by my standards. What do you think, Kyler?
I think it's amazing. I think everything you said and what Kramer says, it just speaks to, he knows his audience so well. And so this is the question I have for you, Mark. If I'm starting a show, a podcast, I'm trying to create content, I'm trying to create my intro, how do I figure out how, like, the messaging behind my intro? Because I'm reading this, I'm like, this is gold, but how do I figure that out for myself? Like, if you're going to help me create my show, what would be your advice to that?
Well, I think the best way forward from my personal perspective would be to create something that is genuine to you. Create an intro that you feel personally excited about, but also something that hooks the viewer into understanding why they're watching. And that's the key. Like, there's a couple of things that they have to understand. What is the show about? And then who am I watching? Who are the characters and why do I care, right? So we wrote a little bit of a script. I think we're going to polish it off. I don't think it's perfect, but it's close, okay? We've come together with a little bit of what this could look and feel like. So why don't we switch to that screen and dive into it? So